Question for all golfers, why are we not hitting 7-iron runs more? So data from ShotScope clearly shows that better players use a wider range of lofts around the greens, where higher handicappers tend to go more for the more lofted club. So they're tending to put that one down there. My 58, they're most lofted, and they're trying to throw it all the way up to that hole. Let's talk about why so many of you are not choosing to use running shots and maybe using your lofted clubs too much, and show you how to conquer these running shots to get down in fewer strokes, lower your handicaps, lower scores. Doesn't have to be Hollywood all the time. So let's go with some 7-iron run fundamentals. Fundamental number one, let's assess what grip you use. For lots of golfers, me included, if I'm using a 7-iron run, I'm going to opt for my putting grip, which is here. So first finger down at the ground, palms are now more as well down at the ground. I am not grabbing hold of it and giving it loads of rotations. I'm holding it in my more upright stance, and my putter grip stance is promoted from that, so more upright, and just because of the way those hands are, all the clubs going through those hands. And that's the second point, it's toe in the ground stuff. So it's toe down kind of hits. I'm trying to hit it with the toe. I don't want a massive springing shot. I want it coming off quite kind of neutral and dead. I'm not lying it flat down on the ground here. I'm handle up, toe down, getting more of the angle of my putter. So basically it's handle up, putter grip, up in my body, and really hanging these hands down this way more, because I'm basically going to try and use my putting stroke. I only want to be throwing the ball just in front of me here, just to chip it forward. So next thing I'm going to do, I've got my feet relatively close together. I'm kind of like two heads of the 7-iron width apart. I'm not going for wide stance. I'm not miles away from it. Remember, nice and close and upright. More narrow stance. Now, I would use your putting stance. I stand quite narrow in my putter. If you stand a bit wider, that's not a big problem. And then I've got the ball basically opposite my microphone here. So it's just opposite, if I go with the camera here, it's basically just opposite the lead side of the middle of me, like just slightly fraction forward of middle of my whole body. And then your width of stance is kind of irrelevant. You're just going to line it up with your body. So nice and upright, putter grip. I've got a narrow stance, and then I'm getting it just in line with just forward of my buttons here. And like I say now, I'm really rocking backwards and forwards, trying to feel like I put next to no wrist or flicks in there. I'm just going to do a nice little gentle putting stroke forwards and let that ball run all that way down to the hole. You can see I'm really barely chipped that forwards. It's running nicely down towards the hole. I don't feel like I've done anything. And this is why this shot, in theory, is so simple. But why are so many of you choosing to do this? Fatted that halfway. And I get it in there as well. You're going to hit that nice nippy one, get it nice and close. Oh, look at that, don't go in. Oh, not quite as nippy as I needed it to be. And you're going to think, I can do it once, I can do it all the time. And that's true, but, well, maybe it's not true, actually. I don't know why I said that's true, because it's not true. For lots of people, they can't do it all the time. Now look, if you're an outlier and you can do it all the time, you're one of those players who's just really good with one wedge and just keep using it, this video is not for you. But for lots of you who could be chipping the ball much closer, let's think about why you're not using the chip and run. And this is the main reason I find that people are not using it when I chat to my students. So I've got three clubs in my hand here, my 58, my 7-iron and my 3-wood. And I want you to think of the 3-wood as your 7-iron, 6-iron, 5-iron, 8-iron run, whatever club it is, the one where you're running it rather than throwing it. And what I mean by that, the 58, I kind of can guess my landing spot. I can see the shot. That doesn't mean I could execute it, but I know I've got to kind of throw it up there and try and get it to stop. And as you saw from earlier, I can do any kind of variations around that, but I can see the shot, I imagine it, and it's one that lots of you are playing. Now, this 3-wood, I don't really putt with my 3-wood from off the green, so if you were to ask me what I need to do with this one, I don't know, because I've not practiced it. I literally gonna just guess in front of you now, about there. So I've completely misread the line, but the pace is quite good. Now, if you give me another go at this, I'm just gonna choose a better line, try and hit a similar pace, and that's a pretty good 3-wood putt. It's gonna nearly go in. And that's the reason. You're not out here or going anywhere and practicing your 7-iron run. So what happens is when I do it with students, you get on the course and you say, why don't you just run that one with like a 7-iron? And they go, well, They got no idea where to land it, so they do it because I'm with them and I tell them, and they do it and they chip their 7 and they throw it halfway. And you think, so that's gone like as far past now. You're meant to just throw that kind of here. It's so obvious that they have built up a level of knowledge, not execution, but knowledge with the lofted club that the stats clearly show that you're using, but the execution isn't there, hence the high handicappers are still high handicappers and not chipping it as close. Where if you spent some time using that basic technique we showed you at the start, just with the grip and the stance, using a 7 iron, a 9 iron, an 8 iron, a 5 iron. I used to play with great golf, we used to run 5 irons from around the green. Links courses was brilliant at it. I wouldn't have known where to land a 5 iron until I played with him and I started to learn well to do it. Get out here and practice some landing spots with some different clubs. It's such an easy shot that can save so many shots off so much of your mess that we get into around the green by just choosing the better option. But it's not a better option, you've even got a clue where to land it. Let me know if this helps. Maybe I should use my free wood a bit more often.